Hi everyone, thanks for being here. I'm back again with my August bullet journal setup with all of this stuff. I am definitely going for a more goth girl, gothic theme today. Hi, my name is Shannon, and this, as always, is Lavender Sky. Here are some of the stickers that I'm using. I've got some girl stickers, some girls in gothic outfits, which I really love. I guess this theme was a little bit inspired by my nails this month with the black and red. And as always, we are working in my Tie Fussy Embrace the Light dot grid notebook. And as always, she's getting chunkier and chunkier every time we see her. I will pop links down below to everything that I possibly can that I've used for this month, but let's get into our setup. I wanted to do something a little bit different with my cover page this month, so I'm just using these whole pieces of paper here for the cover page. I'm kind of just going to lay them out to begin with to see how they vibe. I love the girlies in these papers and I wanted to make that like the focal point of this page. I will cover up that gap later, but first off, I'm just going to use a bit of a leftover scrap here to fill in that corner, and yeah, wow, that works so well. Just trimming off the edges and the excess here. I'm going to save these scraps and maybe use them somewhere else later, we'll see. But yeah, that's kind of the vibe I'm going with for August. Something a little bit darker than I've done previously, and I really love how this turns out. I have these flowers here that I got from JournalSay a while back. This is all I have left of this pack, so I'm just going to use up the rest that's on this strip here. And I'm going to use my safety cutting mat so I don't cut into the pages of my journal. These stickers aren't pre-cut, so I'm just going around and cutting them out with my little gyro thingy here. I really love that these stickers kind of add a little, like they are a little bit textured, they're a little bit reflective, they're a little bit bumpy, so they just kind of like bring this cover page forward a little bit, you know what I mean? Like it gives it a bit of dimension so it's not just like flat and papery. And then to like continue that dimension, I wanted to add the title, but because the background is so dark, I really needed something that you could see it on. So I'm just stamping August onto some leftover dot grid paper from another notebook or this notebook or somewhere that I've had in my scrap drawer, and I'm just going to cut out the letters for August here. Perfect. This black ink that I'm using, it takes such a long time to dry, so I think I just couldn't help it. I did smudge the letters a little bit, but it looks fine. Oopsie, also I forgot how to spell August for a second, so we'll just fix that up. Yeah, the ink takes forever to dry, so I've used this ink and these stamps for all the titles throughout the month, and I have cut out all the drying time for this ink. I would often have to like stamp the title on a page and then just walk away for a while. I'm also using this black lace PET tape here to add some like detail. Again, I think it's a little bit gothic. It brings that kind of vibe to the page, and this is going to be, as always, my calendar page next to my cover page. After stamping the calendar log here, I finished off the calendar page and then I just had to walk away while the ink dried, because if I turn the page, the ink either smudges or it transfers across to the next page, and if you stay around long enough for the flip through of this one, you'll notice a little bit of that like transfer on some of the pages. It is noticeable, but I think once the pages are filled in, it's not going to be a problem at all. But yeah, that kind of added to the time that it took because I had to wait so long before I could even turn the page. Oh well. And that is the vibe that I will be working with today. So something a little bit darker, a little bit more gothic. But yeah, that is what we're going for with the theme for August's setup this month. So I'm going to get on with setting up the rest of the pages, and I'm also going to get into a little bit of mental health chat as I do that here today as well. I guess the thing that kind of comes to my mind is the self-care wheel. I haven't looked at that in a little while. I think the last time I mentioned the self-care wheel was back in March. I will link that video up here for the March mental health chit chat. We were talking about emotional well-being in that video. So if you're wanting to learn a little bit more about emotional well-being, definitely check that out. But today I will be referring back to this wheel here, and I will be talking a little bit about a different aspect of that self-care wheel. Also, the last time I used this self-care wheel with a client in a session, they were a graphic designer, and they pointed out to me that there are two parts of this wheel that are kind of misaligned to the rest of the words here. So I'm just going to snap my fingers. And here is the new version of the self-care wheel that I've made myself, where everything is perfectly aligned and nothing looks kind of out of whack. So thank you to that client who pointed that out to me. I cannot unsee it now. Yeah, so there are a lot of different parts to self-care as identified in this wheel. And like I said, I've already kind of spoken a little bit about emotional self-care in a different video. I do want to talk a lot about spiritual self-care, but I am going to leave that for a video later in the year, because to me, spiritual self-care, as well as, talking about faith and spirituality can also mean living in alignment with your goals and your kind of life path. So I will leave that to later in the year when we start to wrap up this year and start reflecting on our goals and maybe what we want our goals to be moving forward into the new year. But yeah, keep an eye out for that one. Maybe around November or December, I'll talk more about that. Let me know. Today I wanted to talk about something that is so important to me, which is funny because all of these parts are so important to me. But something maybe we all forget when it comes to self-care is professional self-care. So yeah, that's what I want to speak more about with you all today. Professional self-care. What does it mean? What does it look like? How do you do it? Why is it on the wheel? All of those questions will be answered. And if you've got any other questions for me, please drop them in the comments. I will be happy to continue this chat in the comment section, or you can always send me an email or get in touch if you're wanting more support with your self-care in a therapy session. If you live in Australia, I would love to have you. So professional self-care. To me, professional self-care is about looking after yourself in your workplace, whether that's working for yourself in a small business or a big business, working for somebody else as an employee. Professional self-care is how you take care of your well-being at work. I think we all work in some form or another, whether it, like I said, working in a workplace, or maybe you work as a stay-at-home parent, or maybe you work as a caregiver to family or loved ones. We all put in the hard yards in some way working. For me, like I said, I fall into that small business category, but I have at different times in my life been an employee. Now I'm just an employer for myself, and maybe in the future I will have employees of my own. We'll see how the Lavender Sky brand grows. But looking after yourself in the workplace is such an important part of holistic well-being. If we neglect this part of our self-care, it leads to things like burnout, and I think many of us have experienced or are familiar with burnout. I kind of identify burnout as when you no longer have the capacity to do the things that once brought you joy. So for me, I guess I really love doing these journals. If I was feeling burnt out, I might no longer find the energy to create my bullet journal or do any of the creative things that I like doing. And there's definitely been times in my life where I've felt in a huge slump and burnout and just really struggled to find the motivation or the energy to do the things that I find fulfilling or fill me up. So yeah, that's why professional self-care is important. What does it look like? So professional self-care is simply ensuring that you are taking steps to prioritize your well-being when you're at work. Professional self-care can look like a lot of things. There's no right way or wrong way to do it. I always come back to that thought of how do I look after myself when I'm at work? Let me give you some examples. Ways that I look after myself or have looked after myself when I've been working for other people is making sure that I start on time and I finish on time. And if I'm doing any extra overtime, that I'm fairly compensated for that, because I don't work for free. I don't give more than I need to in a workplace, because that doesn't feel balanced or in the best interest of my well-being to me. I also ensure that I have a mentor or a manager or someone in my professional space who can support me in the ways that I want to maybe progress in my career, or have something that I'm motivated towards achieving in my career to keep me engaged and interested in the work that I do, or just someone that I can reflect on about the work that I'm doing to keep me on track and on my pathway, whether that pathway is moving up or staying where I'm at. I want to make sure that I have someone by my side or that I can look up to that can keep me on that pathway, whatever direction it's going in. Professional self-care might also mean that you have regular training, again, to keep you engaged and to make sure you're not stagnating in your work, keeping up with best practices if you're in a field where that is essential, making sure that you are using your time efficiently, because again, like, working smarter, not harder is good self-care as well in a professional space. Yeah, making sure that you are taking your days off and taking your PTO or your annual leave, feeling like you are able to use your sick days. No one in your workplace, your colleagues, do not want to share in your sickness. Don't come in when you're sick. I know some workplaces it feels hard to take your leave. To me, I see that as part of your salary. That's part of your wage and your compensation. So for the love of all that is holy, please take your sick days and your time off. They're your entitlements and you're entitled to them. Use them. Now that I work for myself, professional self-care looks a little bit different. I still have a mentor. I have my clinical supervisor who is so incredible. I've been with her for a couple of years through a couple of different workplaces now. We catch up once a month to reflect on my clinical competency and to make sure that I'm still on the pathway that I want to be on, and maybe being proactive about that pathway in my career as well. Also a good place to reflect on clients, like I said, my clinical practice, to make sure that I'm supporting my clients in the way that maintains my integrity as a therapist and is also doing the right thing by my clients. I don't want to be dipping into a place of malpractice, and having a clinical supervisor to keep me on the right path is so essential in this field. I don't want to be going too rogue out there in therapy, because yeah, not good. But yeah, some other things that I do for my professional self-care, I don't know if you've seen on my Instagram, I don't see clients on Wednesday. That's my admin day, and that's also part of my professional self-care. I know that if I worked 5 days a week, 9 to 5 as a therapist, I would experience burnout pretty quickly. Like, it's a lot to hold space for clients' emotions all day, every day, and having a Wednesday that is not client facing or not working with clients just gives me the professional space to have time for myself and kind of re-regulate, center myself before I go into the next 2 days of therapy practice. Part of my self-care, yeah, not working 5 days a week. Let me know what you consider professional self-care, or let me know if you've got some ideas of how you may already be practicing professional self-care in your workspace. I would love for the comments to be full of us sharing our ideas with each other. Maybe there's something I haven't mentioned that you do regularly that someone reading the comments might be able to utilize in their own life. And I love the idea of sharing the things that we do to look after ourselves and inspiring each other to take care of ourselves and prioritize our self-care in all different parts of our lives. So yeah, please go ahead and share your professional self-care tips and tricks in the comments. I would love to read them, and I'm sure everyone else would love to take inspiration from them too. Something else that kind of comes to mind for me when I think of self-care is my Lavender Self-Care Club, because it is in the interest of self-care, and I will be using a lot of ideas from the self-care wheel to inspire different themes and focuses each month for self-care. But the self-care club is something that I developed because, I don't know about you, but I really love the idea of self-care, but I often struggle with either coming up with things to practice for self-care or finding the time to do it, which is so funny to say out loud because I do absolutely find the time to just doom scroll on my phone for a couple of hours at the end of every day, but I don't really find time to be intentional about other areas of my self-care and well-being. So that's why the self-care club was born. I really love being inspired to practice self-care, and to be honest, it motivates me to practice what I preach a little bit as well. So when you're part of the Lavender Self-Care Club, you'll receive a monthly envelope subscription from me, or there is like a bigger kit that you can sign up for as well that is more of a box and has like bigger items in there like candles and essential oil rollers and just stuff that, you know, I can't fit in a flat envelope. But anyway, the Self-Care Club is a monthly subscription where I send you all of your self-care needs for the month. I want to make it something that is fun and easy to do, but is still really therapeutic and very supportive. So maybe for next month, for September, I'll focus a little bit on professional self-care, and I'll include some journal prompts about reflecting on professional self-care in your life, and maybe the well-being task of the month will be focused on maybe initiating some professional self-care. Maybe your well-being task of the month for professional self-care will be to take a day off work. Wouldn't you love to get that in your letterbox from me, a therapist, and just say to your boss, I have to take a day off this month because that's my self-care task of the month. I have to do it. It's my prompt. Therapist said so. Yeah, I freaking love that. But yeah, every month with the self-care kits is going to be something that's fun and engaging, and yeah, something that's therapeutic and going to be good for you and will inspire you to take the time to invest in your self-care and your well-being. And I love that, and I hope you love that too. If you want to learn more about the Self-Care Club, or if you are in Australia and you want to get your kit, sign up before the 23rd of the month, whatever month you're listening to this in. And yeah, your self-care kit for the following month will be in the mail so soon. I try to send them out on the 23rd or 24th so that there's a good week for them to arrive to your letterbox so you can start the following month with all the self-care practices, prompts, and support from me that you might need. I'll leave the link below to the Self-Care Club in the description, or if you'd like to learn more about it, yeah, send me a message. I don't know, comment Self-Care Club, or mail please, or more info on that. I don't know. Say what you want to say and I will reply to you. Yeah, so that's really all I have to say about self-care. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I hope you've enjoyed this setup. If you've got any ideas for the following month's themes, please let me know. Next up is September. Yeah, it's coming into spring here in Australia. September is honestly my favourite month to live in Perth in Western Australia because that's when all our wildflowers come out. So I'm just finishing up my journal prompt page. I haven't mentioned this for a while, but this is the journal prompts card. I made this when I set up my bullet journal for the year, and there are 4 themes for the journal prompts. There's shadow work, love, self-reflection, and self-discovery. So there's 12 prompts to get me through the whole year. Every month I pull out this page, I pick out a prompt, and I write about it in this part of my bullet journal. And then when I'm done, I just fold it up and keep it here in the front of my journal. I'm actually going to write down all the prompts that I use this year. I'll put that in the description for this video too. If you would like to see what prompts I'm doing this year, and maybe you want to take a few for yourself or find inspiration for your journaling from these prompts, yeah, go ahead and do that. Let me know what you think of those prompts. And yeah, this is something I'll definitely be doing in my 2027 bullet journal setup. I definitely want to keep this prompts page, and I'm going to keep it with the bullet journal of that year. I know that this has the grid spacing guide on the back of it. I don't know, maybe I'll just make a new or a different grid spacing guide, because I would prefer to keep the journal prompts on a pull-out card. I don't know, I guess like stick around for 2027 to see how I change that or keep it the same in next year's setup. But yeah, I really love it. It's really effective, and I really love looking back on the journal prompts that I've written so far throughout the year. It's really cool to see that kind of growth and reflection from myself. Yeah, I love it. Anyway, we are coming up to the final page of my bullet journal setup for this month. So after the journal prompts page, the last page I like to do is just kind of like a blank. There's no title to this page. I can use it for whatever I want. Usually I use it for just like an extra kind of free journaling page. I sometimes write about things that have happened in the month, things that I've done, places that I've been, thoughts or feelings that I've had about things that I've done or places that I've been or people that I've seen. Or sometimes I like to use it as a bit of a junk journaly page. I guess I don't do that too much anymore because I actually have a dedicated junk journal. Again, like link to that, I will put the card up in the corner for you here so you can see my last junk journal spread setup kind of thing. But yeah, if there's anything that is just specific to the month, maybe an experience, and I have like a business card or a menu thing or a flyer, I'll put it here, and it just, yeah, adds to the ambiance of August, which I think is really cute. But yeah, thank you for being here for this one. It's been really lovely to chat to you all about professional self-care, and I'm really looking forward to seeing all of your thoughts and ideas on what you do for professional self-care in the comments below. I will read every single one of them, I promise, and I will reply to all of them, which I usually do because I love interacting with you guys. I think that's the best. It's one of my favorite parts of doing these bullet journal setups is knowing that I get to talk to you all. So yeah. That's it for the setup. Welcome to the final flip through now. I am super in love with the cover page for August. I think it's so different from everything I've done so far this year, and come on, she's so stunning. Let me know what your thoughts are about the theme that I did for this month. If there is a particular page that you love the most, please let me know. If there's anything that you feel inspired by to include in your journal for this month or next month, let me know. You can see a little bit of the ghosting or the transference of the stamps on that page there. Whoopsies. Like I said, it'll be fine when it's all filled in. I really loved the rose as the mood tracker for the month. I've already filled in a couple of days because I'm posting this on the 9th of August, so I've had 8 days worth of mood to fill in, and she looks so good. I do love it. Yeah, and I have been really slack with doing my moon rituals and reflections and intention setting, but I think the vibes that this page is giving is really like spooky, gothic, spiritual, and I'm excited to use that for this month. And yeah, that's the end of the flip through. Once again, thank you all so much for being here. I hope that you've really enjoyed this video and have loved listening to me yapping along today. It's again been great having you here. Take gentle care for the rest of your day or night, wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Bye.